Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. I'm speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And hope you're having a happy Memorial Day. Today's Monday, Memorial Day, and I'm doing this YouTube video. Not much going on here, just hanging out at the house, making YouTube videos and doing research for upcoming YouTube videos. Um, this video, I'm going to continue on my list of favorite 20 or my 20 favorite movies of the 2000s. I've done number 20 through 11 already, so I'm going to do 10 through 6 today, or at this video. I don't have Blu-rays for or DVDs for all the movies, and I still haven't caught up on the 2000s, evidently. Um, so I only have a couple here to show, but number 10 on my list is called The Kingdom from 2007, which I don't have a Blu-ray at the moment. I think I used to have a DVD, but I got rid of it because I wanted to upgrade to a Blu-ray, but haven't yet. This movie I saw in the movie theater. Wasn't sure. Expectations weren't real high. I thought it looked like an interesting movie, and it really went way over my expectations. It's kind of a action thriller movie, I would say, starring Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Garner, Jason Bateman, Chris Cooper. So that four main actors, great cast. I mean, really great together. And it takes place like kind of in Saudi Arabia, I think, area in the Middle East, where there's a terrorist attack, and a bunch of Americans that were living there are killed in this terrorist attack, and including an FBI agent who's friends of the main four cast. They're all in the FBI. Anyways, and so they're all very saddened by their friend getting killed in this terrorist attack. Not to mention a lot of Americans are killed, so there's a lot of investigation going on and what happened, and of course Americans are involved, so the Americans are the FBI or the government's concerned, why, what happened, how can we stop this, who's responsible for it, and how can we stop them. So they get together and they travel to Saudi Arabia, basically against the government's wishes, because they don't want any more incidents. Of course, if you send people over, of course, terrorists are going to target those FBI agents. So they didn't want that to happen, but they somehow are able to sneak into Saudi Arabia, basically, and do an investigation of who's involved with this terrorist attack, this bombing that happens. So very interesting how they use their abilities as FBI agents to get clues and assess situations and talk to people and kind of figure out where all this is coming from. So that's all really good. And then about the last 20-30 minutes of the movie, they find out where the terrorists are from. Or no, terrorists actually kidnapped. That's right. Terrorists actually kidnapped Jason Bateman's character, and so they're actually chasing them to get their friend, the FBI agent that Bateman's playing, to rescue him because they're gonna terrorists are capture him, so they're going to video them, killing him on, like they like to do, video them killing an American, anyways. And so they go into this apartment complex. It's where the terrorists are doing all their stuff, and so they have to go into this, without any backup, really. It's just Jamie Foxx and then actually a Saudi Arabian police officer are combining forces to help on this investigation, and so they have to go into this building. They both have guns, but they go in this building. They don't know where the terrorists are, and it's one of the best action scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I remember seeing it's very tense because you don't know when a bad guy's gonna pop out because they're going through doors and hallways. And Jennifer Garner's there too, but she finds actually where Jason Bateman's character is, and there's a big fight scene between her and a bigger guy, and Jason Bateman's trying to help out, and that's a really intense situation. And watching Jamie Foxx and this other guy go through the hallways, and one mistake, they're dead, so they have to do it perfectly. And if you're in a real firefight, I mean, the littlest thing can kill you. I mean, your danger's way up anyway. So great scene, one of the best scenes, best scene in the movie. action. It's not full of action, but that last scene, like I said, is full of action. Really well directed, I think, by Peter Berg, the director, and it's just a really good, yeah, mystery kind of whodunit kind of thing. Also, though, very funny. Like, so Jason Bateman's, the comedy actor. He's very funny in it. So there's a little bit of comedy in there, and Jamie Foxx can be funny. So there's a lot of good, you know, the tense action sequences, and then you have the somewhat comedic sequences that kind of balance it out. Anyway, so a really good movie. I highly recommend Kingdom. Number 9, actually have a DVD that I bought recently. It's a movie called Radio with Cuba Gooding Jr., the main character, and Ed Harris. This came out in 2007 also. And this is a movie kind of based on a true story of a guy, I want to say back in the 60s maybe 70s era, who, the character named Radio, I forget his real name, but Radio is his nickname that's given to him because he likes listening to radios. These like little radios he puts to his ear and he listens to. Anyways, and he has a bunch of these kind of radios, and so they just call him Radio. I think his name is James something. And he's a real person in real life that they made this movie off of, or, wrote this movie from. He's got mental problems. He's, I don't know if he's retarded. I don't know what kind of medical term you want to call it. He's just not, he can't really, I don't think he can really read or write. And he just has mental problems. He just can't learn, or his learning is way beyond, like he's probably like in his early 20s or something, I think, in the movie. But his ability to learn is, at a very low level. Anyways, and so he's not in school, and he's just hanging around he like pushes a shopping cart, and yeah, he can't get a job, of course, and he's just taken care of by his mom. It comes across Ed Harris is a football coach for this school, and some of the kids from the football team bully him, Radio, the main character, and so then Ed Harris's character, the coach, kind of takes him and mentors him, and makes him part of the football team. He goes into the practices, and kind of helps out the best he can with the practices, and even goes to some of the home games at least. On the sidelines anyway, so he kind of includes him in because he's a very isolated character, and he's not very trusting at first, but of course him and Ed Harris' character, they form this really strong relationship, almost really a father-son relationship, because he doesn't have a father. Of course, and it's interesting because, of course, Ed Harris is white, Cuba Jr. black, so there's also this race thing, but they don't really talk about race at all in the movie. Anyways, and just kind of follows this character as even though he's mentally challenged, I guess is the word I wanted to say, he is still nice to people, he still treats people good, and there's kind of this overall feeling of like, this guy who's not, he's not as smart as everybody, but yet he treats everybody way better than the people that are smart treat everybody terribly, and there's characters that are very mean, and so it's like, we wish everybody would treat people like Radio would, treat them with respect. Anyways, and so that's kind of this, uplifting movie, about, mentally handicapped person, though, does a lot for, the school and the community, and kind of gets embraced by the community at the end of the movie, and by the high school and everything. So just a very great, uplifting movie. I love Cuba Gooding Jr.'s performance as Radio, actually. I think he does a really, really good job as that character, and Ed Harris is really great as the coach. So if you like the feel-good, uplifting movies, that's a really good one, Radio. But it's also pretty funny, too. I think it's a really funny movie at times. Number 8, a movie I don't have, again, I had the DVD, but I got rid of it because I'm looking to upgrade to Blu-ray soon. And it's a movie called A Mighty Wind from 2003. It's another Christopher Guest movie. I already talked about Best in Show. It was number 15 on my list. I talked about that in, I think, the last video. It's a mockumentary, it looks like a documentary, but it's really, actors pretending to be people, but they do it in such a way that you think it's real people doing a documentary, not actors, anyways. So it's a really funny way of doing a movie, and they really find ways to do comedy that you couldn't do in a regular movie. And of course, a lot of it's improvised, probably loose script, but there's the comedians in the movie are so good that they can improvise really funny scenes. Directed by Christopher Guest, just like the Best in Show was. This came right after Best in Show. It was basically their third mockumentary movie that Christopher Guest has done, and he co-wrote with Eugene Levy, one of the co-stars of the movie. Of course, big cast, kind of similar cast. They use kind of the same cast in every movie, which I love because they're all so good. With Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, so great. One of the best comedy duos there ever is. They were great in Best in Show, great in this one. The stars, I think, in this one. Of course, they're on Schitt's Creek, which has won a lot of Emmys lately. So they're always good together. Fred Willard, of course, is very funny again. A little bit bigger part in this one as kind of a manager of a folk group. And then, of course, Christopher Guest is always great. They did their trio is great with Harry Shearer and Michael McKean. Love that trio. Yeah, I can talk about all the cast is great. Of course, it's about Mighty Wind's about a producer or a manager of folk groups dies, and so then they want to celebrate his life by doing a folk concert in his memory. And so they bring in 3 folk groups, which is kind of based on these 3 popular 60s folk groups. Anyways, you got this trio, like I said, I'm forgetting the names of all the groups, but there's a trio, like I said, with Christopher Guest, Harry Shearer, and Michael McKean. They have like this folk trio. I think it's folksmen. They're called the folksmen. And then there's this big group called the New Something Street, the New Street Singers or something like that. And they're a big folk group, like a big kind of like 10 people in the group. And they're very good. And then you got my favorite part is, like I said, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara have like this duo folk group that they used to sing duo songs together, and they were married. They were a husband-wife team, I believe. So there was like they sang romantic songs, and they were like in love. So it really worked out. And I love their materials. Some of my best in the movie. I'm forgetting the names of those characters, but anyways. And so they do this concert, and so all these people that haven't seen each other in a while are coming together to do this concert. And so there's like I said, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara's characters, they were married, but then got divorced, I believe. And then he like went through a depression and even came out he went to like an insane asylum. And so he's kind of coming together. So they're not sure if he's mentally capable of doing the show or how he's going to react seeing Catherine O'Hara's character again after they've been apart for so long, and he had that mental breakdown. And then they have to sing this really romantic song at the Kiss at the End of the Rainbow, I believe it's called. Great song. It was nominated for an Oscar for Best Song. And what's so great about the song is at the end of the song they kiss. That's part of what's so popular about that song in the movie is that they're this married couple that they sing this romantic song and then they kiss at the end. And so then you wonder, are they going to be kissing at the end? Are they going to do that? Because now they're not together. So it's a really great ending to the movie of them seeing whether they're going to kiss or not. And overall, I just love the music. I love folk music, so I love this is my favorite of the mockumentaries just because I love the music so much. Unlike This is Spinal Tap, I didn't like the music. It was like 80s rock, 80s like heavy metal. I didn't like the music in This is Spinal Tap, but I love the music in this one, A Mighty Wind. That's why it's so high on my list anyways. It's one I love to watch over and over again. And listen to the soundtrack. It's so good also. So number 7, I also have Blu-ray here. And it is a movie called Taken. Came out in 2008. Starring Liam Neeson in the lead role. It's an action movie. Liam Neeson is a retired CIA agent, whatever, who did a lot of, undercover operations in different countries, and is very skilled shooting, hand-to-hand combat, all these things. But he also has a daughter, and ex-wife. He's divorced because he spent so much time, and on his job, not at home, overseas, protecting the country, doing secret missions and all this. So of course, this is before the movie starts. You get kind of a flashback of like, you know, he got divorced and then he wasn't around for his daughter. Now he's retired and he wants to be more part of his daughter's life, who's like in high school, I think. And there's somewhat of a strange relationship between them. And so he's trying to get closer to her. And then she goes on a trip to Paris, and she ends up getting kidnapped by some kind of terrorist group, some Eastern European group that kidnaps girls and puts them in sex trade and sex slaves and stuff like that. Anyway, so then he finds out, and then he goes to France, to Paris, to find where his daughter is, and kill pretty much anybody that's in his path, and uses all the skills. He has certain skills, as he says on the phone. It makes him a nightmare for people like you. And so he goes over and just wreaks havoc on anybody that gets in his way. He'll do anything to find his daughter, because of course he loves his daughter. He's a dad, very protective, all that. As a normal dad, except this dad is really good at killing people. Anyways, that's the great kind of twist on this story, I think. And what I love about the story so much is that I love how he does everything he can to kill or torture people to get information, which usually say that's not a good thing, but I understand if you're a dad, you would do anything to get your daughter back. Anyway, so I love scenes where he does unthinkable, kind of, that a good character usually doesn't do. Usually don't torture people if you're the good guy. He does this. Usually don't shoot the leg of an innocent woman to get someone to talk, and he does it. I mean, so he does all these unethical things in order to get to his daughter, which I kind of actually appreciate about the character. And I love a character that isn't afraid to, get his hands dirty to save someone's life. A lot of times good guys, it's like they have the gun on them and they can shoot him, but they're unarmed. And then they feel like, oh, I can't shoot him. It would be unethical because he's unarmed, or, I've won the battle and so I don't need to shoot him, or I'm going to become like the bad guy, kind of thing. I hate that kind of sentiment in movies. The good guy doesn't kill the bad guy. But so I love the fact that this guy is like, I'm going to kill you. I don't care. There's no mercy on anybody. And I absolutely love that about the character. That if you're in his way, doesn't matter who you are, you're gone. He's not going to play around with anybody. And so I love that about the character. The action is done very well. Overall, I love the action. Love Liam Neeson also, because he does the action well, and he's older. I love the fact that he's kind of this older guy. I say older, I don't know if he's 60 or he's in the upper 50s, but somewhat of an older guy, out of his prime, but yet can kick butt still, can still use his skills that he's learned over many years, being in the CIA on people. And Liam Neeson's pretty good at that, because Liam Neeson's a pretty tall guy. He can still look like a good action star even at his old age. I say old age, as an older person. And he does very well. And also he's a great actor. I think he's a really good actor. And so it's nice when you have a guy who can do action and can act really well. It's very hard to get those two things together. And Liam Neeson does such a good job. Action and then the acting part of, wanting to find his daughter. He does such a good job. And that's what I love about this movie so much, is Liam Neeson's performance. And this is really the movie where I saw Liam Neeson, and I thought, anytime a movie comes out and Liam Neeson's in it, I'm going to watch it. Because after seeing Taken, I go, man, this guy's so good. I'll watch him in anything. So it really did that a lot for, I think, his career. He wasn't really an action star until later in life, and now he's kind of known as an action star almost. It's funny, Liam Neeson. But yeah, such a great job there. So if you like action, and I said action, but some good drama in there, good performance by Liam Neeson. Highly recommend. One of the best action movies I've seen lately. So that's Taken. And then the last movie I'm going to talk about is a Pixar movie. I love Pixar movies. Some of the early Pixar movies. They haven't done very good lately, but early on their movies are just so good. Some of the best I've seen. This one is called Monsters Incorporated, which came out in 2001. I don't have the Blu-ray of that one yet. That's another one I definitely want to get at some point. It seems like they're more expensive, the Pixar Blu-rays. But this is one I saw in theater, of course, back in 2001 when I was in high school. And like I said, Pixar was on a roll at that time, so anything Pixar came out with, I went and saw. And this is definitely one of my favorite of the Pixar movies. It's about this creative imaginary world. Like, what if there are monsters in your closet? There's always things. There's a monster in my closet. No, there's no monster in your closet. And this kind of delves into what if there are monsters from another world that go into your closet to scare you, and somehow that gives them energy to kind of run their city, their monster city. They get energy from screams, so they have to get in your closet to make you scream to get the energy that they need to supply their city. Very creative idea. I love the original idea of that and the plot overall. Of course, the monsters aren't mean necessarily. Some of them are, but some of them are nice and aren't bad monsters at all. But they just do a job. And of course, it's on Sully and played by John Goodman. Great performance, I think, vocal performance from John Goodman, and then also the other character, now I'm forgetting his name, played by Billy Crystal. So good, one of the funniest characters in Pixar. He's this monster with one eye. It's kind of a sidekick that helps him with the scares on the scare floor, and it's funny. Those two are so great together. But then a human child comes into the monster world, and so then they're trying to figure out, and they think humans are actually dangerous, so you can't touch a human or like you're gonna die. So they're actually more scared of the humans than the humans are scared of monsters in a way. And so a little child comes into their world, and so they're trying to get the child back into the human world. But then Sully, I think it's called Sully, I think I believe his name, he bonds with the child, and he actually becomes protective of the child. And then when the real bad guys are trying to get the child, he's got to try to save her. And just a great animation, great, especially the scene at the end with all the doors that they have to go through, and they're getting chased. Like I said, very funny, and then very emotional. The very last scene I thought was very emotional when he has to say goodbye to this girl he calls Boo. Actually gets to be really emotional when I watch it. And the last scene where he finally gets the door to go back to see Boo when she's older. Yeah, it was a very great ending to the movie, and overall just a fantastic animated movie. So that's number 6 on my list, Monsters Incorporated. So that's my 10 through 6. So I just got one more video to do, the number 5 through number 1 of my favorite movies of the 2000s. So thank you for subscribing and watching this channel and liking it. And just have a good Memorial Day and keep safe. Appreciate you.